Welcome to the Satori Lifestyle Satori Masters podcast, the ultimate resource for ambitious, hardworking school owners that want to get their business and their life to the next level. My name is Dave Kovar. I'm a lifetime martial artist, business owner, speaker, and author. My goal is to empower listeners with the knowledge and the tools they need to break through barriers and really get their business and their life to the next level. Thanks for watching and enjoy. Welcome to the Satori Lifestyle Satori Masters podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kovar, and with me is my good friend, Professor Shihan Gene Dunn. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on, sir.
Oh, man. Yeah. So Professor Dunn runs Brooklyn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's started out as a Shotokan stylist a million years ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Super high level, like so many other people that I know, that aspire to be like. You're one of those guys that absolutely loves martial arts and super high level at so many things. But you've really kind of probably gravitated towards jiu-jitsu over the last 30, 35 years. Would that be fair to say?
Well, yes, I definitely deep dove in the early 90s and throughout, till now. And jiu-jitsu certainly does have a very special place in my martial arts heart. Though I'm still very fond of karate and very, grateful for my karate background, my Japanese judo background, all of that.
Love it. It's like I was speaking with another guest one time when we were talking about kata, and the thing was, it's kind of like I saw a poster of a guy on a Harley Davidson, and the line was, "If I have to explain it, you wouldn't understand." That's kind of for me kata. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just cool. And there's so much function to it, and it gets a bad rap. But traditional karate is like a beautiful thing, and certainly has its place.
Yeah, I would agree. I certainly would hope that our generation of martial arts practitioners don't lose its essence on our watch. I really hope that we can maintain and keep some of those core values and core principles active and pass them to the next generation, in whatever way we're going to do that.
Is it like, I know I've been to your dojo, amazing. You run it like a traditional, like your jiu-jitsu program is run like, you do it like it's a traditional judo or karate program. Like the protocol is very tight. The lines are, give us some of your thought process and the effects that that's had.
Sir, we were the first to do uniforms. We were the first to do a warm-up. We were first to do like a kind of beginning and end to class that was formalized. And in the very beginning, 20 plus years ago, we came under a lot of fire. And now it seems like the majority of the community has embraced some elements of that. And I really felt that was missing in jiu-jitsu because I came from it. I understood some of the importance of the protocol and the formality of things. The student-teacher relationship, the senpai-kohai relationships were very valuable to me. By the time I was in my 30s, by the time we opened up that first jiu-jitsu school, and it was, a pioneering school, and I had then come out of my kind of rebellious phase about it and started to really understand, like Dad was right. Dad was right all along. And I came back and embraced it. And so I think that those elements are, the Mr. Miyazaki would tell me the most important relationships in the dojo for him were his senpais, his senior big brother, big sister. And they were where he found out about, the technique and all of the nuances, and they were kind of brought along. And I think that that's a core element of a successful martial arts school. Not, I'm sure there are very successful schools out there that are law of the jungle, like only the strong survive. I don't think that there's a lot of longevity to those models. And so people that are structuring their schools in somewhat of a traditional format where folks are helping one another up in a kind of big brother, big sister role. Junior folks are inclined or taught to appreciate and respect those relationships. I just think it's critical, man.
Well, I think there was a time back in the Wild West of jiu-jitsu where the rough and tumble schools thrived because that was the only place you could go, right?
Right.
But I think since there's so much, good martial arts available and good jiu-jitsu available now, I think that it seems like the guys that really know what they're doing, that have longevity, understand the value of really taking care, of the student. I remember going to your school probably 10 years ago. Me and Manny Esmeralda showed
Penny.
up,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
and it was a we had a day class, and I remember how, and I've been training my whole life, and like I'm comfortable going to a dojo, and I'm good enough to I'm confident enough in my ability to be able to say, hey, I don't want to go with you, or I'm going to go lighter,
Yeah, yeah.
but you took there was such an emphasis on safety in the class. I was so aware of it, like how you like everybody you paired off, and it was very intentional. You know what I'm saying? Like you had a plan in mind. And I remember like, oh, this is a pretty good feeling. Like I'm not on
Yeah.
my own. And hey, I'm a professional martial artist. I probably would be okay being on my own. But man, you are making sure that that you're creating the very best experience for me that I could. Both Manny and I walked out of class going, wow, that was. I don't even remember the techniques that we did. I'm sure they were great, but I remember how you led the class and how I felt in the class, and it was really pretty special.
Sir, thank you for that. A couple of things, if I may. One is like, I would never be able to live with myself if one of my martial arts heroes got injured at my school. So I certainly want, and Manny is what an outstanding martial arts practitioner and instructor. And, it is my protocol. That is the way I operate. And I certainly was making sure, while you could absolutely handle everybody in the room,
I
if
wasn't
not
saying
tap
that. I,
everybody.
I, I
No,
wasn't saying that at all.
but
Just to
that
be clear,
that
I was.
Yes, but that's me saying it. It's my place to say, and for sure that would be the case. And I wanted to make sure that like I do for everyone is safe. And I'll just say this, the guys of our generation, while you are my senior, we started jujitsu
Sure.
right around the same time. And our generation of guys have now gone through the mill. We now understand what that training does, the pros and the cons of it. And if we didn't learn those lessons, shame on us. Our body certainly did. So I think again, like, it's probably I would say let me say it like this. It's my responsibility to make sure that the next generation has a better time of it, has a better experience, a safer experience, and certainly a more educated experience.
I love it. I love it. So tell me now, you one of the things that I've always admired about you is your commitment to your students and your friends, and also your love for martial arts in general, like all things
Thank
martial
you.
arts. And
Coming from you, that means a lot.
no, I sincerely mean it. It's like there's a very few people that love it as much as I do, and I think you're one of those people, right? But what's
Thank you.
also as like an aging athlete, because you were a high level competitor in like
Yeah.
Shotokan back in the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you've been still at it. You're still training. What
Yes.
advice would you give the younger generation about being able to maintain, to be respectful of the circle of life, right? And still maintain. So, what do you do to stay in shape and keep yourself being able to still be on the mat? I guess that's the
Well,
question.
yeah. Well, certainly I had great teachers. And let me just respond a little bit or reflect back to you. I think the same thing. There are very few people that love the martial arts as much as I do, but you're certainly one. And so it's my, like I said, and you've been my hero since the 1980s, sir. Like, you've done so much for me in the martial arts. I could never say thank you enough. And that being said, Mr. Miyazaki, I asked Mr. Miyazaki when I was like 18, 1987, like, who are the lifetime martial artists? I knew then I wanted to do martial arts my whole life. And I started when I was 12. So, he said, the guys who competed, and he was a practitioner who competed, and I got to see, he was roughly in his mid 40s at that point, and I got to see him into his 50s and 60s, as well as Mr. Vizio, who, if you don't know who that is a
Sure.
pioneer in the United States martial arts community, period, bar none. Badass dude.
You're talking about Paul Vizio.
Yeah, Sifu
Martial
Vizio. Yeah,
legend.
yes.
Yes.
And so I watched him practice, be very, very competitive, break some of the stereotypes about aging martial artists and, you know, do full contact competitively in his 40s and 50s, even though I knew somewhat of his age. But so I had good teachers to show me what it looked like. And first of all, I think that a young practitioner has to answer the question, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Or is this going to be a pastime? And like I tell my students, the funny thing about Al Bundy is he threw his three great touchdowns at senior year in high school, and then it was over. He was a shoe salesman. And the martial arts doesn't, it's not supposed to be that. Like our teachers before us, they were lifetime guys. They weren't just in and out of it. And so if you answer the question, yes, I'm going to stay here and do this for my life, then I think that that long arc, you need to consider a few things, right? What are activities or pieces that are going to make me safe on the long run,
Hmm.
and what are areas where I need to stay out of because I'm going to pull an injury that's going to be catastrophic.
I tell you that, and that is such great advice. It's such great advice, and like I'm training every Sunday like with a bunch of local black belts, and my son's getting ready for his black belt. We're putting some
Congratulations.
and yeah, it's it's pretty fun, man. And these guys are all good guys. I know them. They're all safe to train with. But I have to remind myself, like we did like 10 5-minute rounds, right? You know the drill. You've done it a million times, and it was like I
I,
realized
I
after.
just finished doing
Okay, well,
it.
uh,
So go on.
yeah. Well, the point was is that this like I don't know that was I got through it fine, but I don't know going forward at where I'm at in my stage. That's really I've got to respect my. By the way, I can do that if as long as I go light and with the right people. But
This
it's
is my
hard to
point to
do.
you. This is my point to you.
Yeah, it's like you sometimes that that voice in your head says, oh, it doesn't matter. He's bigger and strong. It's like I gotta.
Yeah.
That's something that I battle with all the time. But your advice is is just spot on.
Sir, if I can just give one other point about this particular problem for a younger practitioner is I think that the way that we navigate that, Hensel Gracie told me that positional training is super important.
Yeah, yeah,
And I noticed that the heat gets turned off in positional training. Like
100%.
we don't stretch the heat, like we don't ignite the fire long term. It may get short, but once that thing is solved, it kind of collapses back. And that's, if you were a younger practitioner feeling this way, positional training is the work. Like that's what I was doing all day today.
Yeah, I love
Putting
that.
myself in the ankle lock and all kinds of things, arm lock, all that positional work.
Love it. That's such good advice because it's kind of like injuries seem to happen in the scramble. You know what I mean? If you're just isolating a position, it's also not that big of a deal. You let a guy mount and still going to choke. If you tap, you tap. It's no big deal. Yeah, yeah.
We
But no,
got
I think it's great advice. So, what if in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, we think of atomic as big, but really what that means is tiny, atom, right? It's all about these little, habits that you have in place. I look at it like I try to have as many rituals, and my idea of a ritual is a positive habit or habit infused with positive intention, right? And I know you're a very like
I'm a
intention person.
ritualistic,
Me too, man. So
all day.
give me some of your rituals that maybe you had to work to make habit that are now something that just has helped you to be able to with your longevity, both in your mindset and your training and your health.
Well, first of all, like I have, there's a new addition to my life. I have a rescue German Shepherd, and he's now part of my ritual. And I didn't think it mattered too much, but the moment we wake up, we start treat training him, and it's at 7 a.m. and we're treat training him, and I'm giving him my love. And that newer ritual for me is informing everything. I'm out of my own head. It's not only about me. And Scott Galloway talks a lot about in his book Notes on Being a Man about our contributions. And while I have a lot of I have a lot of areas in my life where I'm contributing, this one is newer and it's having a profound impact. I have this creature, this thing that, like, this being that I'm responsible for. I'm a little late to the party. This is my first dog. And that has been a very important ritual for me. You know, ex- Expressing my love for this dog in the way that it needs
Mm-hmm.
first thing in the morning.
Love it.
First thing in the morning. And then it's yoga, then it's reading, then it's drawing, painting, and then I'll do either a martial arts workout or I'll go and teach. Then teaching daily, another martial arts training, and then coming home and working with the dog on the back end as well.
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like uh, our days are made up, whether we like it or not, with habits, right? But do they serve us or not? You know what I'm saying? And how. By the way, I probably have a lot of unconscious bad habits that could be improved upon. But I'm better than I was. You know what I'm saying? And how many people go through their life without really taking a look and going, "All right, is this the right thing to do?" Like, here's an example. A few months back, I hop on the plane. I'm about 10th person on the plane, okay? And as I'm walking down the aisle, I see everybody has got their phone out, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and is scrolling. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking by and I'm feeling kind of disgusted. Like, what's the world
Mm-hmm.
coming to? What are these
Mm-hmm.
people? I sit down and then guess what I do? I pull out my phone. I go, "Oh, when did that happen?" Right? So that's something I'm mindfully trying to, because I'll go to text somebody or call someone. The next thing you know, I'm on. If I don't watch it, I'm on TikTok. Watching some random thing. It's like, man. So that's been, and I'm mindful of it. So I try to limit my exposure to it. Right? But how many people just aren't even aware of the fact that they've got all their days made up of things that don't necessarily serve them.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I this may be a little bit deep and we can divert out, but I think that this is part of the problem. Well, let me reframe it. It's part of what the martial arts solves for this generation of practitioners. It gives us a way out of this programming. I've been reading a lot about how social media is certainly programming men to.
Scott Galloway's commentary on this
Oh my
a month
gosh.
back was friggin' scary, and then it was amazing, powerful, scary.
But what we have the solution. We have community, we have fitness, we have a code,
Yep,
we have
100%.
engagement, we have
Yep.
all of the solutions. And I think, I think that more, and it's a little bit of a segue out, but the the ritual of martial art practice, even if it's once or twice or three times a week, that will open up a lot for people. And I think that, like, our community of martial arts school owners, which is what we're appealing to in this podcast, should be very well aware of that. And that, like, doing what we can to get people to have that ritual, that habit, that perspective of, oh, this is my time to go to the dojo. This is my time, and I'm not going to miss.
Uh,
Really important.
I tell you, yeah, and it ties back into you're talking about with your dog too. Is like it's that present moment. My dad would always talk about these are the good old days. That was his favorite line. We get together for dinner.
Right now, right?
Right, but and absolutely right now. And my favorite word in the English language is savor, because savor brings you to the present moment with a sense of appreciation, right? Savor a sunset, savor time with my dog. But see, that morning time that you have where you're pouring your heart into it, that's some meditation, man. Like, you got to be all in. You can't be thinking about other stuff. And of course, that's what we do for our students, right? When they come to class, that practice. And I actually think, and I'm pretty sure you agree with me on this because you already alluded to it, is that we are the yin to AI's yang. Okay, it's like the more that becomes, people are going to need us more. They're going to,
100%. This is why I'm bringing it up. I'm right there with you, sir. And while I'm not AI opposed, and I'm certainly not, I'm not tech opposed either, social media opposed. I just think it needs to have its place, and we need, as one, human beings, but two, martial arts instructors, to know our role and our position in it.
Yeah.
Because we like, martial arts has been around for thousands of years for a reason, because it works and it provides solutions for people, whether that's in, you know, physical conflict or mental conflict. The principles, they're solid. That's why I said, like, we can't lose it on our watch. We have to maintain it. We have to pass it down. That being said, Mr. Miyazaki told me, I asked him right around the same time, like, do you meditate? And he said to me, of course I meditate, Gene. I do kata. It's moving meditation. Everything in our life, the martial art class, if it's done well, it's a meditation through and through. And we know, I mean, you're a big proponent. I learned it from you, is that meditation, it keeps us present. It keeps us, alive in a very positive way. It's so important.
So, what would you tell? I couldn't agree with you more. It's like I try to look at all the little things I do. We're back to atomic habits. Like I've talked about this on my podcast before, but my office is upstairs. When we get done taping this, I'll go back up to my office, right? And every time I go upstairs, like, okay, this is my chance to be in the present. How am I going to go up the stairs this time? Am I walking up backwards? Am I walking up sideways? Am I trying to? But I tell you, it's those little moments, like that you have these opportunities throughout the day to be totally immersed in what you're doing, mind, body, spirit, and that's that reprieve from all that. It's like we all feel the weight of the world on our shoulders, right?
Certainly,
We got to find a way to set it down and enjoy the sunset, and
certainly,
then they come back up, and we're kind of refreshed a little bit more than we would
certainly,
otherwise. Yeah.
certainly.
So, what would you tell? What would you tell someone that's a struggling school owner that's having? By the way, it's never easy. You and I've been both this doing a long time, right? And people ask you for input on how to run a school. They ask me for input on how to run a school, and it's easy to give advice. It's living your own life. There's challenges that happen, right? But okay, it's never easy. But what would you tell a struggling school owner that's like maybe he's, I don't know, kind of losing his way? He's what would you tell him to kind of help him get back on track or reassure him that he's in the right field, and what could he do to kind of get his momentum moving in the right direction?
I'm pondering that because it's a very big question for me. It's a really important question for me. And I think I'm thinking about what are the different factors that I've experienced, that I know you've experienced, to make us feel like we just can't do it. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm letting that kind of inform my answer. So forgive me for the pregnant
Yeah, no,
pause.
it's all good. It's all good. It's like I appreciate your intentionality of it. It's like, but because it's a hard one, and I think there's a lot of people out there. So many people that I know that the old phrase "misery loves company." Like
Yeah,
you talk to someone and
yeah,
they'll say, "Oh, it's bad. Business is bad. Is it bad for you?" They want you to tell
yeah,
you that
yeah, yeah,
so they
yeah,
can feel
yeah.
better versus like striving, or like what can I do to like improve my lot. I have a couple ideas, but but
So
if you're ready to go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So I used to do full contact with Mr. Vizio and with Herb Perez. And Mr. Perez, for those of you who don't know, was the first American Taekwondo Olympian. And that dude could hit harder than anyone I ever met before or after. And like, people think that Taekwondo is trash. That guy can kick and kill somebody. In fact, I think he split someone's cranium in Dominican Republic. That being said, it was terrifying for me. I Friday nights was sparring, and we drive from Astoria, New York, to Bergen Line Avenue in Jersey, and I would get nauseous Wednesday. Wednesday midday, I would be thinking about it, and I'd be nauseous. And I got my ass kicked. I got my ass kicked more than I care to tell and remember. But one thing it taught me was that to never give up. And I never won. I never won against Mr. Perez. I never won against Mr. Vizio. Just never. They were just so good. But that tenacity helped me win in international competition. I went out I beat the world champion. I did a lot of things that I wouldn't have done if I did not keep this never quit spirit. And I let the circumstance of Friday night sparring, where we were getting knocked out, we were getting our bones broken, we were getting smashed. If I let that overcome me, if I let that rob the rest of the picture for me. And so what I would say is, lean on your training, everybody. Like the martial arts, embedded in the martial arts is this will to overcome adversity. And it will change. You've said that to me, sir, when many times I've come to you and I've gone, sir, like, I don't know what to do here. Like, I'm at my wit's end. You got something? And inevitably, it all boils down to you're going to pass through this and you're going to come out on top. And that's the martial art way. The kata starts with a block and finishes with a kiai. Starts defensively and it ends with spirit. And that track, that loop, it's embedded in what we do and it does not fail us. And I would say just stay in the fight.
Great advice. I had to write down starts defensively and ends with spirit. I've been doing kata for 55 years. I've never heard that phrase before. Wonderful, wonderful. And I just went through my mind all these forms. Yeah, I can't think of it. They all start. It's great. It's so good. That's such good advice. Like, it's kind of like if I was to, compare it to baseball. There's not 3 strikes. You just keep swinging, right? And Teddy Roosevelt also said that I believe that the line was, when you get to the end of your rope, I believe he got the credit for this. When you get to the end of your rope, tie a big knot in it and hang on.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of what you're talking about, man. Like if you're out there having a hard time, you got to do the work. You can't sit there and twiddle your fingers. Roll your sleeves up, take a breath, remember your mission, remember why you do this. Because when your why is stronger, that gives you the reason to do it, right? And then do the work. And inevitably, failure is temporary. So is success if you don't watch it.
I would just add one more quote by Winston Churchill. If you're going through hell, keep going.
I love it.
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite historical figures, Winston Churchill. Like incredible.
How about that movie, sir? How about that movie?
Yeah.
Gary Oldman, like what a job he did.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
I remember reading, I think it was Black Dog, which was his biography back in it. He had a rough, not an easy life, but I'll tell you what, if it wasn't I don't think that
world would be a different place right now if it wasn't for him.
If it wasn't for his ability to stand strong, incredible. Yeah, good. Well, that's a topic for another time. I appreciate your time, man. Always a pleasure. I'm always a better person after talking with you.
Love you, sir.
And love you too. And I look forward to seeing you on the East Coast in a couple of months, hopefully. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you'd like this, of course, love to have you follow the podcast more. And anybody want to get a hold of you? How online? Where would be the best way?
Gene Dunn's Karate, Brooklyn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can find me on Instagram, Gene Dunn. All of that. I'm there.
Incredible. If I want to see your artwork, where do I go?
Gene Dunn, GeneDunnArt.com.
GeneDunnArt.com.
GeneDunnArt.com. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Take care. Thank you for tuning in today to our podcast. I hope you found it valuable and inspirational. To stay connected, please subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you go for your podcasts. If you enjoyed today's show, please give us a 5-star review. And we really sincerely would appreciate some feedback. Your feedback helps us to create high-quality content that will help others in the future. If you'd like to follow me, you can go to Dave Kovar on Facebook or Hanchi Dave Kovar on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on next episode.